Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and I've got a special guest today, our buddy Ray. What's up?
Hey.
You may have seen Ray in a couple other videos. He's been in some playthroughs and stuff. He comes and hangs out with us and plays games, but we're going to talk today about My Little Scythe. Ba-boom. First thing I want to say about My Little Scythe is I actually did do an interview with Jamie Stegmeyer at Gen Con 2018, I want to say, which seems like a long time ago, where he actually told me the story about how, like, you know, there was somebody who really liked Scythe, but wanted to play it with his kids, so he made like a My Little Pony, designed a, more watered down version with My Little Pony. And Jamie liked it so much that he kind of picked it up. He couldn't get the My Little Pony license, but he still wanted to do it and keep the name and everything. I mean, obviously I'm just paraphrasing. He says it all in the video, in the interview. You can go check that out. But it is a pretty cool story, at least, of how somebody who just loved a game and wanted to make one for his kids then was able to actually make that a reality, you know. Pretty cool.
Nice. My first playthrough on My Little Scythe was satisfying, to say the least. I played Scythe, the original, and it's really nothing like it. It just has the skin of Scythe and also the board of Scythe, but honestly, it's very different from the original. There's a sense of being carefree with this game where the purpose of winning doesn't feel as rewarding as it is in the regular Scythe game. But being carefree, you have a lot more fun. You can do a lot more things knowing that there won't be any penalties or repercussions. You can try this game out multiple times and find different avenues on how to win, technically, or just different ways of how to have fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same. It's obviously the same bone structure as Scythe, right? The same. I mean, the board looks the same. You want to move towards the middle. Your action selection thing is the same. But it's. You know, when it was first announced, one of my buddies said, "Oh, is that baby Scythe? Is that real? Is that the new game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess it is." And he's like, like he was very unsatisfied. I don't want to say unimpressed with like the announcement. Well, and then at least there is a little bit of truth to that because it's the idea of being like, "Oh, it's a game I like, but just a watered down version." Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's really the case. I probably used the word watered down to explain it before, but it's a different game with the same bone structure.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed. One particular thing I enjoyed most about My Little Scythe are the little guys here. They're designed better than the original Scythe pieces. Another thing that I noticed was the battles. When you're fighting, they call them pie fights in this game. And I appreciate it because it's nothing like the Scythe battles, where in the original Scythe, you lose everything. And I mean, it's decisive. You're practically gonna, unless there's a huge turn of events, which is unlikely in Scythe, then you're pretty much gonna stay at the position that you're at. In this game, a pie fight is just another way to entertain yourself, to gain another one of the trophies on this side. That's all it really is. You don't really lose anything, you just gain.
You could even choose to just not spend any of your pies, and then you just... Yeah. I mean, at least you lose your position on the board. You'll get rejuvenated back to your base camp, but then you'll either get another card or get 2 pies. So you could straight up spend 0 and just use it as a way to gain 2 pies.
And I like how you brought up the rejuvenation thing. That's a nice little aspect about fighting. I don't recall in the original Scythe the rejuvenation aspect. Yeah, dude. I don't recall the rejuvenation aspect in that game, but I do remember you get to start from 0 in a way worse way, where in this game, you literally rejuvenate.
I do kind of feel like this game can be a real bum rush to the end. Mm-hmm. Like, Scythe, I do remember at least there being an aspect of wanting to build up, like your area on the board, because those areas are what generate resources and stuff.
Yes.
There's a bit more wanting to build your engine and upgrade your board and whatnot. And in here, it's just all about speed and efficiency. Like, you can't place 2 trophies in one turn, but you can place 2 or 3 or 4 trophies back to back to back if you play your cards right and you're really efficient, which is probably something that you should tell people. Like, not only is this a shorter game just by the virtue of there being less stuff to worry about, less stuff to think about, but it's also a shorter game in just the fact that you can be really efficient and someone can just go boom, trophy, and win. Like, whenever you see somebody has 1 trophy left, you really have to look at their board state and be like, that could they win next turn, because it's very possible. I've done that twice now where I've just been like, place a trophy, and then next turn I come down, place a trophy, and I'm like, I have one, and if they don't stop me, I'm going to get it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that sense of carefree that I got from the first time playing this, I noticed that I was just playing for the fun of it. I wasn't really going for trophies. In fact, I think I only placed one trophy in the whole game. I had fun, but obviously I see the other players putting trophies down, and I'm thinking to myself, well, shoot, I'm not playing this right at all. But I still had fun, which it was funny, because the whole point, as you just said, the purpose of it is to gain as many trophies as you can first time around.
Yeah, like be the first to place all four of your trophies.
All four trophies.
Yeah. But then again, you are also, the players at the table are in charge in a way of how long the game is.
Yes.
So you could all be kind of playing in that we're going to play the long game, we're just going to move around and have a lot of fun. And I think, I like the word carefree that you used is also good, because it definitely is, in Scythe, you would feel like worried a bit. You're like, oh, I'm worried I'm going to lose this battle, I'm going to lose stuff. I'm worried I'm not going to have exactly as much resources.
Yeah,
Scythe is
there's
much
responsibility there, because there's the resources in this game are just on the board. You don't collect anything in this game. Whereas in regular Scythe, you have to collect resources in order to upgrade, in order to get the better hand, and in order to win. This one, you don't have to upgrade at all. You can just keep going for there is trophies for upgrading.
Yeah, one trophy for upgrading, but you don't need to do that trophy.
Yeah, and it doesn't really help you in the long run to get the other trophies. It just helps you be more efficient at your movement, or at even building things. So the making.
Yeah. And you do want resources. Resources are a big part of the trophies and of the game. But it's not such that, I need to hurry up and upgrade so I am good at doing X, Y, and Z so that I can go and do X, Y, and Z really well.
Or hoarding
them. Yeah, or hoarding them. Well, unless you're going to do the delivery thing. But yeah, you could just win pie fights, move your pies all the way up, make 2 quests, and move your friendship all the way up. I think my favorite mechanic in the game is the friendship mechanic. Now, when you were talking about how fights are really like detrimental and like a big deal in original Scythe, and in here, fights aren't like that big of a deal. Someone's not starting a fight and you're like, oh no, I'm going to lose everything. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be, no. But by that same token, the game is overall very friendly. And the best thing is this friendship mechanic where I think there's like quest cards will let you do it too, but it's mostly when you roll resources and they're going to land in an opponent's zone. You're like, well, I could just give this to somebody else and I'll gain friendship, which is something I want. I want friendship, because if I have too little, I can't even get trophies at all. Yeah. And it's a trophy to get it up there. So I just think that's such a great mechanic of like kind of forcing you to help out other players. And it also makes the game much more plentiful. When you're just rolling the dice to see where the resources land, it's very possible that the resources land, especially in like a smaller player game, like 2 players like this, it's possible that the resources land far away from everybody, and now we've got to spend turns moving to try and go collect them. But it just feels really great of like, especially again in a larger player game, if multiple people roll the dice, then they can just drop resources on you, and you're like, hey, sweet, I've got a lot of resources. So it's more plentiful in this game than in regular Scythe. I definitely felt more tighter. There were definitely lots of times when I was like, again, it's been a while since I've played it, but I do remember having times where I was like, I'm like 1 resource shy, or this thing is, I want to do this, but it's expensive and I won't be able to do that.
Oh, yes.
I like games that are plentiful, where I have enough resources to do a lot of different things. All I need to do is choose which of these great things can I do with my resources. Not, well, I don't have enough resources for this. I don't have enough for that. That's too expensive. I hate that feeling of just of scarcity, of just not having enough. And in this game, I feel like, especially if you have a longer game and with more players and stuff, you feel like it's very plentiful. So we have been gushing over this game a little bit. I do really like it. I think now I don't own Scythe. I would like to own Scythe. I probably will own Scythe at some point in my life, but having this definitely does scratch that itch of Scythe. I wouldn't say, if you own Scythe, get rid of it and get this. Definitely not. Nor would I say that if you get this, you do not need to have Scythe. There's a time and a place for each of them. This is, of course, obviously better for younger kids. I have a lot of nieces and nephews who are about to get to the age. Actually, one of them's over 8, but they're, pretty soon I'll have enough nieces and nephews who are at this age where I can play this with multiple nieces and nephews, and I think they'll be able to get it. But I do have negatives with the game. First of all, of course, the length of the game. While I like it, could upset some people if you don't explain to them ahead of time, hey, it's a bum rush, you have to play your, don't just lollygag around, especially that you have to, I think you should give everybody that rule of, if somebody has just one trophy left, you have to stop and look at where their board state is.
It should be a rule.
Yeah, you absolutely need to make sure people know that. But also, the art style just isn't really for me. I'm not really big on these cutesy, chibi. Yeah, bubbly is a good word for it. Now, for a lot of people, this is going to be a plus. I played this with some of my friends who were definitely saying, oh, wow, I really like the art style. I think it's really fun and cute. My mom really likes the art style, so there's that. My only other light complaint is this does come with a really nice insert. I'm not the biggest fan of game tray inserts in general. I like Broken Token. I like the wooden ones. I mean, I do think this is really nice, but it's very specific. Like, you have to put these exactly where they need to go. And with the expansion, which again we'll have another video for, it's really hard to fit the expansion in here as well. Now, Jamie he has his own YouTube channel, and he does like his podcasty thing. And I did see one video where he said, that one thing he doesn't really like is when he announces an expansion, some people will immediately email him and say, well, does it fit into the base box? Yes. And I think from what I got from that video where he was kind of explaining, where he says, well, if the only way you see value in this expansion that I spent time and energy, designing and making to bump up the game experience, if you don't see value in it, if it doesn't fit into the base game box, obviously I think he doesn't really like that. Now, that's not what I'm saying, Jamie. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that if there's going to be another expansion, maybe be a big box like regular Scythe.
Think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do feel like big boxes are, enough people use them to the point where, I think big boxes are like a legitimate thing. Like, there should be a big box for more than just base game Scythe. It doesn't have to be just the single biggest game that you have with a big box expansion. Like, I think everything can fit in viticulture, but like if you kept expanding viticulture, there should be a big box for viticulture.
Yeah, and if I may interject, just as you can see, the size of this board and then the pieces. This is just 2 players. With 6 players, you could easily. So I can imagine having a bigger box. I think it's appropriate for the size of the game.
That's true. It does feel like a big enough game to where you don't want to be packing everything back in the box.
Yeah. I mean, if you looked at it, the inside of the box, it's literally to the top of the box, and then you put the cover. So it really it fits almost tight. Yeah. So I can't imagine putting anything else in there. I will have to agree with those negatives. The timing of it. If you understand this game and you do the bum rush like you're supposed to, the people who don't understand that will not feel a sense of worth in this game. I think they need to really be aggressive the first time playing just to try to win. Other than that, you would end up like me. So obviously, Neverboard Gaming recommends My Little Scythe specifically if you want to get this experience of Scythe either faster, like easier to teach new players to be like, hey, if you like this, now we could upgrade to regular Scythe, or with kids, obviously, is another really good way to utilize this game. We are going to put a purchase link to this game in the description box down below. Also in the description box down below, there's going to be a link for Game Toppers. That's this awesome thing you see right here. It fits right over your regular table. It's dope-a-trope. You should check it out. But either way, while you're down there, you should definitely subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Finger guns. Finger guns. Yeah. Cool. We're so cool.